Buenos días. Hoy aquí en Murcia tiene lugar una de las reuniones más importantes de toda nuestra presidencia española del Consejo de la Unión Europea. La reunión del Consejo de Asuntos Generales. Hoy los ojos de Europa están mirando a Murcia. Aquí vamos a tratar dos puntos fundamentales para el devenir de Europa en los próximos años. En primer lugar, la ampliación. Tenemos muchos estados que quieren ser parte, porque comparten nuestros valores y nuestras aspiraciones, de la Unión Europea. Y para ello vamos a hacer una reflexión sobre las implicaciones presupuestarias de una ampliación a más de 30, incluso a más de 35, las reformas institucionales que haya que hacer para ello y la reforma en el método de tomas de decisión para seguir siendo tan eficaces como la Unión Europea ha sido frente a la crisis del COVID-19 o a la agresión rusa contra Ucrania. Y al mismo tiempo vamos a tener un segundo tema, la autonomía estratégica abierta de la Unión. ¿Cómo debe de posicionarse la Unión en un mundo cada vez más competitivo, más interdependiente, en aspectos tan esenciales como la energía, las nuevas tecnologías, la salud, los alimentos, temas que tocan muy de cerca a la vida de nuestros ciudadanos? Este Consejo de Asuntos Generales es preparatorio de la reunión clave de nuestra presidencia aquí en España, que es el Consejo de Jefes de Estado y de Gobierno en Granada, precedido de una reunión de la Comunidad Política Europea el día 5 de octubre y el día 6 de octubre respectivamente, donde se reunirán para la Comunidad Política Europea 47 países de Europa con sus respectivos jefes de Estado y de Gobierno, seguido del Consejo de Jefes de Estado y de Gobierno, en el que se reflexionará sobre ambas cosas, sobre la ampliación y sobre la autonomía estratégica abierta, fruto también y como base de un informe presentado por el presidente del Gobierno, Pedro Sánchez, hace muy pocos días, Europa Resiliente 2030. Al finalizar, con el comisario Bargeli, que acude también a esta reunión, daremos cuenta de los resultados de la reunión del Consejo de Asuntos Generales en una rueda de prensa. Muchas gracias.
Hola, buenos días. Quiero agradecer a España por convidarnos aquí a la hermosa ciudad de Murcia. En el orden del día tenemos nada menos que el futuro de la Unión Europea, la ampliación y qué significa para diferentes sectores de la Unión. También la autonomía estratégica es un debate importante que vamos a tener. I'm happy to be here in Spain, in Murcia. We'll discuss an enormously important issue, the enlargement of the EU, something that we didn't view as an important question a few years ago, but Russia's attack on Ukraine has lifted it to a totally different status within the Union. When you discuss enlargement, of course, it's important to get your house in order. That's why the rule of law process is viewed as essential for the EU and also for Finland. You can't have a functioning union if you don't have common rules. We have transfers of resources, we have shared responsibilities, and that situation, of course, also we have to have shared rules. In the enlargement process, it's important that we set clear steps and that we communicate these steps clearly so that the candidate countries know what's expected of them and that we can ensure that we get to our final destination, which means an enlarged EU. I think that's what we all are striving for. Another important issue is the strategic autonomy. We have woken up to a different reality. We have understood that we have dependencies that are not always in our interest. But while we focus on that, we have to take care of our single market also. It's important that it functions. It's important that it functions on a market-based system where there's a level playing field, where state subsidies don't decide where investments go. The green transition is an enormous opportunity for the EU, but if those investments aren't decided in a merit-based system where the market economy works, we will not get the result, not the competitiveness that we really need. But I'm happy to be here and looking forward to interesting discussions.
Good morning. I'm very much looking forward to today's informal council meeting. We will continue preparing the EU for enlargement, and it's really high time for that. We are getting ready to welcome new members. They still have to do quite a lot of reforms and homework to get their countries ready to join the EU. At the same time, we as EU have to prepare ourselves to be able to take decisions in an efficient manner with more than 30 members. We also have to think about how to protect the rule of law so that we really stick to our values also in the future, and also think about how we can make sure that citizens can participate in the decision-making process in the European Union. To that end, last week, a Franco-German expert working group has presented a report with a lot of very interesting suggestions. We already had a great interest in all over Europe about this report, and today we will continue our discussions and think about how we can get the EU ready for enlargement, because enlargement and EU reforms need to go hand in hand. Thank you.
Bonjour, morning. Bonjour, aujourd'hui, donc c'est le Conseil qui prépare l'Union européenne de dans 10 ans, avec une discussion sur à la fois l'élargissement, la façon dont on va faire l'élargissement, la réforme possible de l'Union européenne et puis l'autonomie stratégique ou la souveraineté. Sur l'élargissement, évidemment, le monde a changé, la Chine est plus assertive, la guerre que la Russie mène à l'Ukraine et aussi la montée du Sud nous impose de nous renforcer, de faire que nous soyons une puissance qui puisse parler à part égale avec tout le monde et qui protège ses citoyens, qui protège et qui fait prospérer notre modèle. Donc nous allons regarder comment le faire pour que ce soit à la fois incitatif, préserver nos valeurs, l'état de droit, la démocratie et la liberté et éviter la fatigue des pays candidats. Sur la réforme des institutions, l'idée est évidemment de mener ça en parallèle pour être sûr de pouvoir être plus flexible, plus agile et plus mobile face à l'état du monde qui change. Et puis enfin, l'autonomie stratégique ou la souveraineté, c'est véritablement asseoir notre puissance économique. 440 millions de consommateurs avec un PIB par tête élevé peuvent avoir une politique de défense, une politique énergétique et une politique industrielle qui fassent de nous une vraie puissance mondiale et donc qui nous permettent de prospérer dans ce nouveau monde. Merci.
Hello, good morning. First of all, I would like to thank City of Murcia for hospitality today, and I would also like to thank the Spanish presidency for organizing this very important debate that we are going to have. I expect to discuss two major topics. One is the reform of the European Union, and the other one is the enlargement of the European Union. How we foresee this is that by the end of the year, we should take two very important decisions. One is to start negotiations with all the candidate countries that want to join the EU. And the second decision we need to take is about the timeline for the reform process that we are going to do in the upcoming years. It's up to those discussions and up to those decisions how the future of European Union will look like in the next decades. Thank you very much.
Morning, it's great to be here in Murcia this morning. It's a pleasure to attend at the invitation of the Secretary of State Navarro. It's a very changing time for Europe, I think, as we're all very aware in terms of the prospect of bringing a number of new countries and potential candidates into the European Union, from the Western Balkan Six to the Eastern Trio. We're having huge discussions broken into two parts. Firstly, in terms of how we reform our institutions, and secondly, which is important too, on what level countries coming in should be on a merit-based, notwithstanding the geopolitical issues and urgencies that are around, that we all know and we all face. So I look forward to taking part in the discussions and really have to thank the Spanish presidency for their hospitality and all the work that they're doing. Thank you.
Good morning. I am very happy to be here in Murcia today to discuss two important issues for the future of Europe. One of them is about preparing for the enlargement. We all know that the candidate countries have an intensive homework ahead. They have to comply with the Copenhagen criteria. But we in the European Union also have an intensive homework in order to be prepared to get new members on board. This is what we will be discussing today. How to create the absorption capacity that will allow us to enlarge, and how we will be able to function effectively and efficiently at 30 plus member states. We all know that nowadays it is already difficult to take some decisions at 27, so we need to reform the way we function, our institutional setup, and in order to be able to be working properly with more member states. And also we have to look into the impact of the enlargement on major policies of the European Union, like agriculture policy or cohesion policy, also the impact it will have on the European budget. And also another issue we will be discussing is differentiated or gradual integration. And we will need to see how this gradual integration might work so that the candidate countries can progressively start to be dealing with some of the European policies and progressively doing their path towards the European Union. One other issue we will be discussing today is open strategic autonomy. This is key for the future of Europe. We need to deal with some of the pandemic, and then the war revealed some vulnerabilities and some dependency of the European Union regarding foreign powers. We need to deal with that, but without closing ourselves to the world. So this is about an open strategic autonomy. This is not about self-sufficiency, but this is about being more resilient and stronger to deal with whatever crisis or whatever challenges might arise.
Blij om hier vandaag te zijn in Murcia, waar we het over de toekomst van Europa zullen hebben. Quelle Union européenne voulons-nous à l'avenir? Il est vrai que si on regarde en arrière, un petit coup d'œil sur les récentes crises que nous avons pu traverser, on peut se réjouir de ce que l'Europe a pu fournir une réponse adéquate aux différentes crises. Je pense à la pandémie, je pense aussi à la guerre en Ukraine, et protéger, assurer le bien-être de quelques 450 millions de citoyens. Il faut à présent tirer les leçons, évidemment, de ces épreuves et renforcer encore notre autonomie stratégique, notamment dans les domaines de la défense, de l'énergie et encore de l'économie. C'est-à-dire renforcer notre production industrielle et diversifier aussi nos sources d'approvisionnement. À côté de cette autonomie stratégique, il y a un autre chantier très important, notamment lié à la possibilité, le possible élargissement de l'Union européenne. C'est-à-dire renforcer notre acquis démocratique, renforcer le fonctionnement de nos institutions et aussi nos politiques communes. Il est vrai que nous serons un jour peut-être 33, 35. Alors comment décider ensemble, comment rester efficace, comment offrir aussi une Europe la plus démocratique possible? Voilà des chantiers passionnants qui nous occupera certainement encore pendant des mois, voire des années, et qui sera aussi l'une des priorités de la présidence belge. Je vous remercie.
Good morning. For Lithuania, enlargement is unavoidable because the bigger EU, the better. Because bigger EU brings more geopolitical influence for European Union. It's about more security, more market opportunities, and more stability in our region. But in order to make a bigger EU, we have to make sure that we turn waiting room of Western Balkan countries, as well as Ukraine and Moldova and Georgia, into the exercise room. Because to exercise rule of law and exercise alignment with European security and foreign policy is actually prerequisite. So I do believe that we as well have to exercise and do homeworks at the EU level to make sure that we are ready to enlarge. But we should not be stuck into our never-ending institutional debates, but instead of that, actually look how we can accommodate our budget, economy, cohesion, agricultural policies, because this will be the pathway for our ever stronger union. In order to do that, we have to make a bold decision already this year to open negotiations with Ukraine and Moldova. Thank you.
Good morning, my name is Peter Mišik, I'm Slovak State Secretary. I'd like to express my gratitude to the Spanish organizers for their hospitality, and today we are going to discuss the issues related to the enlargement. It's very good that the Spanish presidency decided to continue in discussions related to the enlargement. So far we've had more general discussions, and now we are going to speak more concretely about the implications, consequences of enlargement when it comes to the concrete policies, institutions, decision-making mechanisms. We in Slovakia, we are hoping for having a successful enlargement. That kind of enlargement we used to have 20 years ago when we entered the European Union. For us, it is important to rely on good information, good data when it comes to the policies, to the adjustment of the policies and institutions, and that's why we are looking forward to reports by the European Commission on pre-enlargement that was indicated by Madam President of the Commission, Ursula von der Leyen. And then we are going to discuss the reform, as I told you, institutions, policies, etc. From our point of view, the evolutionary rather than revolutionary and gradual approach is good one, and we are looking forward to discussions on that issue. At the same time, I'm going to underline that we will need to have a good communication strategy for our population in order to explain them what the enlargement will mean for them and to explain them the advantages that are linked with the enlargement. Finally, we are going to discuss the open strategic autonomy issue that was brought by the Spanish presidency, and it's very important because this is about our vulnerabilities and our resilience. And we in Slovakia, we are open economy, we are export-oriented economy, and we are very interested in having a strong European Union, and that's why this issue related to the open strategic autonomy is so important for us. Many thanks.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Dania Gedman from Romania. We are very pleased to be here. We had absolutely a fantastic night last night. We have understood many things about the beautiful city of Murcia. This is credit to your mayor and to the city council, and we are very, very happy to be here. Today we will discuss the future of Europe and the way we can forge the European Union in order to achieve more members due to the enlargement process. And I think this is a very timely discussion, since the leaders will meet in Granada next week, and they will discuss about how we can accommodate the candidate countries in the years to come. As you know, Romania really supports the enlargement process. We are supportive of Ukraine, of Republic of Moldova, of Georgia, and also with the countries of Western Balkans. But in order to have the big family of European Union, we need to be prepared. So we will discuss about how we can forge our policies in order to accommodate more members, how we can make European Union more resilient, how we can ask and respond to the crisis that we are all suffering about at Romania's border, the war of aggression of Russia against Ukraine. So today we dedicate our meeting to the future of Europe, to the response to our citizens. And of course, what it is important is that enlargement is a successful policy that we need to continue. Romania supports the enlargement process in the years to come. We will have a voice when forging the ability of European Union to project its principles and values. And thirdly, that these two processes, the enlargement and the way that we prepare the European Union should go in parallel so that we will have a stronger union at the end of the day. Two more things that I would like to add. This process should enhance the trust between the member states and the candidate states. It has to respect the principle of cooperation and solidarity. And last but not least, it needs to stick to the cohesion policy. It needs to bridge the gap between disparities, and it needs to forge a European Union in full solidarity and unity. Thank you so much, and thank you for the mayor, for the city council of Murcia, for hosting us today, and also, of course, to my very good friend, State Secretary of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Pascual Navarro. Thank you.